do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Radio Hotties. The content broadcast on this show is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Radio Hotties, the best and hottest Indian radio network in the entire world.
Mahima Creations
Proudly present Premier Evening Drive Time Show. Pam Pam.
Yes, you heard it right.
Pam Pam. Every
Monday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday,
Friday. Let's beat the traffic. नमस्कार
Namaste.
नमस्कार
Vanakkam.
खुशामदीद
Assalamu alaikum.
सत श्री अकाल
మీకందరికి వందనము.
जय स्वामी नारायण
जय श्री कृष्ण.
जय जिनेन्द्र
मैं इस्माइली भाई बंधु को बोल दे या अली मदद.
मौलानी मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजी बंधु लोगों को बोलेंगे नीसा बुला बटजान हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे मई माँ के दुलारे माई सेल्फ आलतू बाबा
And of course, myself, Altu Rani, लेकर आपके लिए एक और drive time that's gonna make it totally exciting and totally मस्तानी बंदू जानी.
प्रोडा बंजान आपको मालूम है आज का टॉपिक अगर आपने देख लिया तो हमारे एक ऊपर बैनर चल रहा है जो आपको बताएगा आज का टॉपिक क्या है. आज का टॉपिक है बंजान या थीम जो है ट्रांस थर्सडे है बंजान. अगर आप सोच रहे हैं ट्रांस थर्सडे नेवर हर्ड ऑफ दिस व्हाट इज दिस ट्रांस ट्रेन सुना है ट्रांस क्या होता है माय गॉड यू डिडंट सुना नहीं तो यार आज का शो आपके लिए है.
हाँ.
बे एरिया में रहते हो अगर आप इस वर्ड को सुना नहीं तो माय गुडनेस कौन से बबल में हो भाई आ जाइए तो आपका बबल बस्ट करा दे आप लोग. Well, Baljar, we are talking about something which actually Indian cinema is very, what should I say, very cautiously treaded to address with the society, with the shows, with the movies, with the characters played in movies, getting a semblance of what society is looking like nowadays, Baljar. Well, अगर आप trans की बात करें तो it actually is a word. A short form of a bunch of words represents a lot. आपने तो you must have heard about the LGBTQ, right? The T is what we talk about. But the LGBT, आपको मैं lesbian, gay, all those things, right? LGBT, bisexual,
gay,
T, trans वहाँ पे आता है. Generally, it is something which you might not have, and we have also very conservatively approached this topic. हमारे shows पे we are just about topic of how Indian cinema has touched upon these things and as you know our shows all over controversy. हम लोग controversy ही के लिए पैदा हुए हैं. ये तो आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि people made me famous by first controversy Falto will talk about sometime in one of her members. She's going right after like so many years. I don't know when she's going to do it. तभी तो आएगा लेकिन why how Alto became Alto because the controversial thing which he did about something. Actually was not at all a controversy. किसी ने उठा लिया वहाँ पे. Well वैसे तो बहुत सारे controversy चल रहा है. Controversy के लिए ऊपर एक पूरा रेडियो नेटवर्क चल सकती है. Talking about all the controversy in the world, starting from the upper, you know, the upper stratosphere of controversy, like starting from north. No, I'm not talking about the level of importance. Controversy is controversy at the end of the day. Agar like controversy between two neighbors and nothing about a compound wall, also the same thing is a controversy. Same with even nations. But if you start from the north, right? Starting from north, Greenland, there's also an issue of Greenland also. Who owns the land? Okay, right? वहाँ पे controversy है. और नीचे आते जाओ, USSR. जो अभी रशिया है रूस का controversy चल रहा है आजकल, right? Well, there was a controversy with Rus in Alaska. When Alaska they were forced to sell to America, right? That also was a controversy again, right? आते आते बहुत सारे दुनिया में नॉर्थ से लेके साउथ तक controversy भरा पड़ा है. तो हमारा show is also featuring these kind of things, right? Featuring, we are trying to see if we can bring some light to it, attention to it, awareness about it, right? And how to do it? We have a scapegoat, Indian cinema.
Yes.
हम Indian cinema के बल पे आपके ऊपर तीन चलाने वाले बजट. How many of us actually are comfortable to understand this particular term, trans? Yeah, and yeah, ये तो हमारे निजी जीवन में probably you would never have met somebody who's trans. I understand, it's possible. लेकिन does it mean that your proximity of 10 feet or 10 people you meet on a daily basis does that constitute a world? Obviously not, because you would say that 10 people cannot live in a bubble. No, you can't, because you have to, whether you like it or not, somehow or the other, somewhere somebody is influencing you. As long as you're on this particular rock, which is called as Earth, the third rock from the sun, you actually are going to be, you have to be aware aware of what's happening around you at least, right? Even if you don't go on solar system, at least यहाँ पे सोचो यार. So that's what today's show, आज के type of show जो है informative show होती है. आज वही मकसद है हमारा, right? तो जब तक मैं बात करता रहूँगा, हमारी यहाँ पे जिंचक जो है मेरी फालतू नहीं, will always keep saying हाँ, that's all she was saying. वो कुछ अपनी राय कभी देती नहीं है, बाद में देती है जब आप लोग आके कॉल करें यहाँ पे. तो आपको न्योता दे देता हूँ कि आप आके यहाँ पे कॉल करें और अपना राय जो है यहाँ पे शेयर करें. And experience also. We would love to hear your experiences also. Please note this is a public forum. So obviously, realm of decency is requested from you guys. And trans जो है is transgender, right? Now trans का काफी मतलब होता है transgender, trans neutral सब कुछ होता है, right? So we're talking about transgender, transvestite, सब होते हैं, a lot of words for it, right?
Correct.
So लेकिन the concept is the fact that somebody who is probably different from you.
Correct.
And as you know, we always have been talking very dearly about this particular thing about differences and how we need to normalize the differences,
correct,
right?
Correct.
तो आज का बनता है show talking about this because मौका नहीं मिला हम लोगों को, because इंडियन सिनेमा के हम बात करते हैं, इंडियन सिनेमा जो फोकस करती है उसी के बारे में बात करते हैं हम लोग.
Correct.
We talk about the female lead roles, the male lead roles, the moral standards of the movie set out, the social economic condition of the movie being released on a certain time. They throwback करते हैं जब लोग कभी we do throwback Thursdays, throwback, what do we do, right? We go back in time and look at the socio-economic condition of the particular time and why the movie came out that way and why it became famous, why it did not become famous.
Right.
ऐसे सब बातें होने वाली है. And yes, आज हम लोग ऐसे बात लिए हैं जहाँ पे जो prevalent है community में, यहाँ पे भी नहीं, इंडिया में भी prevalent है, लेकिन उसके बाद ज़्यादा बात नहीं की गई. Right?
Correct.
And transgender folk जो है, generally we have a derogatory name for them in India.
Right.
जो it is we have seen them growing up. अगर बॉम्बे गए तो definitely you would have met a few of them.
Correct.
And it's a very learning about it. Yeah, probably first instance you look at them, you might feel, oh my God, it gets scared or whatever it is. But the fact is, it's a very sad story about what happens, what transpires there. And our movie makers have been mindful about bringing that to light in some of the movies. राइट तो एक हाथ से हम लोग शाबाशी देंगे और दूसरे हाथ से छाटा मारेंगे जहां पे उन्होंने मिस रिप्रेजेंट किया हो. वो भी हो सकता है. लाइक तो आपके पास दो हाथ है, भगवान ने दो हाथ क्यों दिया? एक से
ताली नहीं बचती है.
नहीं
तो दूसरे से
एक से किसी को सराओ, दूसरे किसी को चमाट मारो.
हाँ, exactly.
मतलब where it is needed, you got to encourage them. Where it is not needed, you probably misrepresent it. Definitely got to talk about it. So transgender जो है जिसके बारे में बात की है, yeah, it might be uncomfortable for you guys, but call करो बताओ. No, we're not talking about sexual orientation. It's about somebody's orientation itself, as in their gender orientation, right? इसके बारे में बात है आज, right?
जो gender identification बोलते हैं बंजन, but Altu Baba, are we also does trans also cover gender fluidity?
Yes, it does. Well, no, gender fluidity is totally different. But again, it comes under trans because whenever you have something transition between somewhere, right, it's called a trans. So हम लोग उसके बारे में बात करेंगे. लेकिन देखो, Father, you brought a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Where we don't have movies,
correct,
which actually talk about gender fluidity.
हाँ.
Even Hollywood में आपको कम ही मिलेंगे आपको जहाँ पे gender fluidity हो.
हाँ.
Right? And gender fluidity का मतलब क्या है वो अलग टॉपिक है, उसके बारे में हम लोग आज बात नहीं करेंगे because probably it is something which requires a totally different show of its own. Right? And we will not, when we talk about, जब हम ये टॉपिक लेके आते हैं हम लोग उसको कनेक्ट करते हैं मूवीज के साथ, right?
Correct.
जब कंटेंट नहीं है, मूवीज नहीं बनी है तो obviously we can't get much to talk about it.
True that.
But awareness ला सकते हैं उसके बारे में बात करते हुए. अगर आपको कुछ मालूम है इसके बारे में तो कॉल कीजिएगा 408-912-2479.
That's right, Banjan. And the number to call us at the studio today is 408-912-2479. अगर आप हमारे इनर सर्कल में हो, यानी कि जो हमारे बंधुत्व का एक इनर सर्कल होता है जहाँ पे लोग हमें आके मिलते हैं, you get an opportunity to participate in some of our shows, in some of our live events, you get to participate also online, then you can always WhatsApp us and tell us that you want to be on video call. Now, it's very simple. अगर आप सोच रहे हो कि अरे आप मुझे exclude कर रहे हो, मैं इनर सर्कल में नहीं हूँ. वेरी सिंपल डार्लिंग्स, आपको बस हमें व्हाट्सएप करना है. व्हाट्सएप का नंबर वो जो स्क्रोली देख रहे हैं ना आप नीचे, वो रेड कलर का स्क्रोली, वहाँ पे यू सी दैट ओवर देयर देयर इज अ नंबर. सो जस्ट व्हाट्सएप अस ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर नंबर एंड से दैट यू वांट टू बी participating on a video call on air, and we can get you on a video call as well. We'll actually WhatsApp you the details as to how we can get you on a video call.
And of course, Banjan, अभी आपको एक और चीज बता दें कि actually आज के टॉपिक पे या थीम पे, I have a very strong feeling we'll have we're gonna have very light participation.
Yeah, because people are uncomfortable talking about something like this, but which is why
Yes.
we talk about these things.
It's like we're comfortable about it.
Yeah. Because Bandhujan, these are things that need to be talked about,
Yeah.
right?
So,
And
and when you talked about the term trans, I also want to clarify one thing, Falguni. Trans can also be somebody. It's an inclusive term
correct.
for anybody whose identity of gender
Uh-huh.
does not match their assigned gender or sex assigned to them.
Yeah, what they're born with.
Yeah,
right?
like I'm talking sex not in terms of, preferable in terms of, male, female. No, we're talking multiple things, right?
Yeah.
So that's why aaj ka topic hai transgender. So because transsexual, transgender comes with trans anyways, right?
Correct.
But again, you can't just, what do you call that? You can't blanket it because there's different terminology. That's why it's not just called LGBTQ.
Right.
There's actually the terminology which says LGBTQIA and then there's also something called as plus.
Correct.
Right, Banjan? And आप बोलते अरे यार बहुत सारी ये हो गया अरे चलेगा बाबा so what you got to respect people the way they want to be called right well gone is the golden rule I've seen many people post this golden rule on their Facebook pages Falguni because people are forward mentality right they forward whatever comes to them well you're not being forward minded if you're forwarding whatever comes to you on social media understand this because people say the golden rule which is treat other people the way you want to be treated
Correct.
I am sorry that's not the golden rule I can tell you why it's not right.
Why,
if you
Baba?
want to know the Banjan, got to give us a call. If you want to
Bol
ask
rahe,
me,
bol rahe,
Alta
bol
Baba,
rahe.
why do you think the golden rule of treat other people the way you want to be treated is not right?
Why?
I will tell you only if you call me. Phone करो पता लगाने के लिए अरे थोड़ा effort लगाओ ना Falguni, what are you talking about?
ठीक है हाँ फोन करो
Yeah, because see, I want people to understand that we're not just shooting our thing here. हाँ हमारे पास टाइम है बात करेंगे नहीं ऐसा नहीं है हमारा ये मकसद है कि कहीं पे तो किसी के यहाँ पे तो कुछ तो इमोशन जगाए एंगर तो एंगर घिन तो घिन कुछ तो जगाए आपके अंदर अगर आपको ये आज का शो सुन के
लेकिन
घिन
हमें
लग रहा है
100% मालूम है at the end of the day प्यार ही प्यार है बता
yeah we go for
जो भी
grin
है, हाँ.
we go for grin or ghin
Yeah, it
doesn't matter. You might say, yes, I want to talk about it, and no, I don't want to talk about it. I accept it. We accept everything, Badhujan, and that's what we want to make sure that we let you guys know. Because they go, I think what we need to do, Falguni, we need to get to a point where we as a community are comfortable to talk about stuff, right?
Correct.
So again, if you want to call us, number is 408-912-2479. I just want to tell that, people are also calling us on video call right now. We're going to get you on. Thoda wait कीजिएगा. And Falguni, you want to say something about the topic today?
I just want to say Bandhujan कि आज जो हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं maybe you are wondering what are we asking you?
Yeah, that's something everybody wonders, of course.
Yeah.
Because
So
it's a
what are we
wonderful
asking?
show.
What is the question?
We're a wonderful show, Falguni.
Yeah, बिल्कुल.
First of all, we're asking people if there's something which is the concept of trans. Do you get it?
Yeah.
A is that.
Yeah.
So Falguni always is a habit of Falguni is excellent. She is excellent at throwing me under the bus. तो समटाइम्स ऐसे कर देती है तो वो भी सोच ले क्या हो रहा है फालतू नहीं तू अपना व्हाट्सएप बंद कर तू ऐसा क्यों करते तो अभी तो यहाँ पे फोकस कर यहाँ पे बंधु लोग आ गए हैं राइट नंबर टू कॉल योर 408-912-2479 फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आर यू कंफर्टेबल विद द कांसेप्ट ऑफ ट्रांस
करेक्ट
वैसे कंफर्टेबल देखो पब्लिक फोरम में आप आके बोल सकते हो हाँ पॉलिटिकली आई एम ओके विद इट नहीं ऐसी नहीं बात कर रहे हम क्या आप फेमिलियर है इस टर्मिनोलॉजी से एंड सेकंड थिंग आर यू लाइक सम हैव यू एक्चुअली seen or any kind of portrayal of the trans community in Indian cinema, which is doubtful. है तो call कीजिएगा. We want to know. We want to know. Nation wants to know. Number to call here 408-912-2479. We actually have a video call already with us, Falguni. Do you want to go to them?
Let us go, Alta Baba.
Namaste. कैसे हैं दीपा जी? Welcome.
हेलो पैम पातुरानी अल्तो बाबा
पैम पैम कैसे हैं आप दीपा जी वाह वाह क्या स्टाइल मार के कार में वाह वाह
सही में कार में बालाशाला ऐसे खुला छोड़ के हरे हरे क्या है माय गॉड क्या अब एकदम नहीं यू लुक थोड़ी रिलैक्स्ड
जुगाड़ कर रही हूँ बस
लगता है आप कहीं
ऐसे ही कॉल किया
यहाँ पे शो पे आने से पहले हमने किसी से बात किया था वी हैड अ कॉल वी हैड समबडी इन हवाई ऑल द वे Trust me, Falguni, wasn't their face same as her face like
yeah,
now?
Yeah, totally like sun-kissed and relaxed and as if you had like a nice massage.
Yeah,
and
probably had a good time with Gopal today, like, a relaxed lunch and everything, I don't know. क्यों आप हंस रहे हो दीपा जी? हो सकता है ना दीपा जी?
अरे मेरा छोड़ा आज फालतू रानी के तेवर बदले बदले से
मेरे तेवर मैं हमेशा ऐसी हूँ
ये स्टाइल वगैरह कुछ अलग किया है फालतू रानी
बस हेयर स्टाइल बस पोनी टेल लगाया है
you didn't notice my hairstyle? दीपा जी क्या बोलते हो
तो तुम्हारा स्टाइल तो चेंज नहीं हुआ ना.
ए हेलो एक्सक्यूज मी, चेंज हुआ है थोड़ा, 1 मिलीमीटर कम हुआ है.
देखो आज देखो, मैं हमेशा मेरे बाल बंधे हुए रहते हैं, मेरे बाल खुले हैं, लेकिन फालतू रानी के बाल हमेशा खुले रहते हैं, आज उसके बंधे. सो आज हम लोग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की बात कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, हाँ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की बात करें, लेकिन आज हमारे फालतूनी के बाल गाना गा रहे. कौन सा गाना मालूम है?
कौन सा वाला?
हम बंदे हैं
फालतू के
रबर बैंड से, दीपा के तो है खुले बाल. अच्छा, तो दीपा जी तो वेलकम. तो आज का थीम जो है ट्रांस है, ट्रांस थर्सडे है. एंड आई डोंट नो इफ यू आर फेमिलियर विद दिस टर्म ट्रांस.
हाँ.
Are you familiar? First question, yes or no?
Yes, I am familiar with
Okay,
it.
how comfortable are you to talk about this topic? Because today's theme, I have a very strong feeling bandhus will not be comfortable.
Talk about what? मतलब whether you
Are you?
I mean, I don't know, in terms of the movie
देखो.
में उसको कैसे दर्शाया गया है, that way, right?
Yeah, that also one thing. And second thing is, first and foremost, personally also, given the fact that culturally we come from a certain kind of upbringing, right? इसके बारे में हम लोग बातें नहीं करते हैं. जब भी कोई ऐसे हाँ जरूर हमारे सब में लाइफ में we have come across somebody who's transgender or somebody who's trans, right? But कहा हमें generally the other people in our community protect us and say, oh no, don't go talk about it. Like आज भी participation of our show is going to be very little because people are going to get scared of this topic.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
People are going to say, oh yeah, trans, no, I don't want to talk about it. They'll just log out. Right? होता है. तो आप, are you comfortable talking about this? Are you like, comfortable to address transgender, gender neutrality, all those things? It's okay, be honest.
ऐसी कोई वाकयात नहीं है हुआ है ना मेरी जिंदगी में.
हाँ, but you would like to learn?
Maybe I can say this is the debut of talking about it in front of with you guys.
Correct.
That's what I can say.
Correct. So that's
and,
so the thing is, that's thank you for being honest, and I want people to have this honest conversation. अगर हम लोग as a community are not able to have a uncomfortable conversation, what's the point of being a community, right? Society तो हमें we have to talk about it because our children might come back and ask us questions.
Correct.
तब हम क्या करेंगे उनको? What will we tell them, right?
Like we have seen people in the movie in terms of like मतलब देखो पुराने movies में भी जब ऐसे बोला जाता है कि उनको पता नहीं वो ट्रांस कहलाते हैं क्या कुछ और क्वियर कहलाते हैं. जो नया बच्चा जब पैदा होता है तो वो लोग आके अगर आशीर्वाद दिए, there is even in our culture actually there is a high regards for those kind of people who are born with certain different मतलब biological variations. तो ऐसे मतलब that much उतना हमको knowledge है and और वो भी part of the society है, ऐसा accept करना चाहिए, इतना मालूम है बस. But other than that, like, yeah.
So there is a particular term called intersectionality. So there also is intersectionality with the gender as well. So Falswani, you actually talk a lot about intersectionality, and today आज हम लोग trans की बात करें, जो एक specifically one of the categories of the gender intersectionality होती है. जो generally हम लोग we are used to two specific genders to put into our forms. यहाँ पे आने के लिए भी visa fill करने के लिए what is your male, what is your sex, people ask male, female.
Gender.
Yeah, and some people do say preferably female, that's a different issue. But they don't understand the question properly. The point is, हमारा Indian cinema has done disservice to us. While because many topics Indian cinema and media supports us to have comfortability in talking about things, right? अभी तो हमें, of course, Deepa ji, are you comfortable talking about gay and lesbian? We are, right? I hope you are. No, she's uncomfortable.
नहीं
She's uncomfortable, but doesn't matter. The point is,
नहीं मैंने ऐसे नहीं बोला, like क्या बात कर सकते? That is the question. Like
no,
what you
I
are
mean,
trying
so
to
here's
ask.
like here's our take today. So there's different types of people in society, and generally जब होता है कि हाल ही में एक मूवी आई जहाँ पे they specifically talked about how a man
Male
a CIS male converted to to a female, because the person felt like a female from within. And वो gender transformational surgery जो भी है, I mean, it is becoming commonplace right now, but it's still considered like, it is an elective surgery. It's not something that is done on this thing. So there was a movie that was made. How comfortable were you watching that movie? I know many people who didn't want to watch that movie because it had something to do with sexual orientation.
Yeah.
And I know many people who do not want to talk about it because it's an uncomfortable topic to talk about. But it is something that a lot of our current generation are dealing with.
Yeah.
We are coming across people. In fact, Alto and myself recently met somebody who, not one, not
Well,
two.
I am comfortable talking with adults, like जैसे हम लोग friends हैं.
हाँ.
Friends के बीच में, let me be honest, but in with kids, अभी I mean I don't feel comfortable for the reason that मेरा एक जिंदगी में एक ये मानना है, like I'll cross the bridge when it
No,
comes
fair
to
enough.
me, like that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
हाँ, कनाडा में बोलते हैं ना मुंगाल पुटकी. कुछ लोग मतलब सब अभी देखो फर्स्ट ग्रेड में you cannot learn everything ना.
Correct.
PhD नहीं सीख सकते. That is my belief, and I want to keep that innocence. I want as much as possible as a mother, like I want to keep that hold on to that
Right.
thought. Like when it comes to them, matlab in future definitely they will understand मेरा ये मानना है. So in adults also, if the topic comes up, I would
So
like to
so
talk.
let me ask you,
लेकिन मैं
if you
खुद नहीं छेड़ूंगी.
if you met a character like the character in that movie, I'm not going to give you the name of the movie. That could be a trivia question that we'll ask.
Yeah.
If you met somebody like that, and if you got to know, like let's say you became friends with somebody and you got to know that this person was, how would you react? Would your or you came across let's say a teenager or an individual who feels the other way, who wants, like we knew one person, unfortunately the person passed away, who was a male but felt very much like a female, used to sing beautifully in a male voice, had a very nice deep male voice, used to cook wonderfully, I mean amazing cook, used to dance very beautifully, very nicely.
Yeah, I think some of them actually,
Yeah.
some of our bandhus have also met the person.
Yeah, some
But
of yeah.
that person of
लेकिन
Indian origin.
again फालतू रानी देखो and again सबको everybody doesn't go through the surgery or doesn't have to go through the surgery. They can live a comfortable life with the way they are, thinking, I mean, either then they'll opt for either being gay or lesbian. That's how it works.
Yeah,
मेरे
okay,
हिसाब
so
से.
again, that's his limited information, but you're right about that. But again, thank you for calling in today. आप आज call करके हमें बता दिया कि yeah, there are people who can want to learn about it.
Yeah.
Because being informed is important, right? We're not trying to propagate anything. हम लोग कुछ propagation नहीं कर रहे. आज कोई agenda नहीं है हमारा show का. We're talking about how Indian cinema has done this. But Deepaji, if you can stay online, we have a caller who actually called us on the phone line, so we can actually get them on. Will it be okay? Are you driving? I see you're in a car.
Yes, नहीं, I have parked. And also I want to give credit to Indian cinema. मतलब ऐसे they sprinkled this topic pretty much in all the movies, whether it's a one scene or a couple of scenes, like salt and थोड़ा सा ऐसे मसाले जैसा. Like in Sholay, there is a guy in the jail who wears a lipstick and who is like.
We'll come to that. Very good point to bring in. ये point हमारे show पे आज we're going to talk about it for sure.
Yes,
So
yes.
stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Keep it here because we're going to get to other caller who are going to be on air with us right now.
Sure,
Namaste.
sure,
Welcome to Trans Thursdays on the Pam Pam Show. Who's this? Hello.
Hello.
Pam, good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening, Pam Pam.
Srinidhi bhai, क्या हाल है?
बस बढ़िया.
You know,
आपको कैसे हो?
I was one person who I know will definitely, chime in on this topic would have been Srinidhi.
Why?
Because I think I understand that we have the same mentality in terms of accepting people the way they are.
Yeah.
So Srinidhi also...
Brotherly, bro code.
Not the bro codes. I'll tell you, Deepaji, actually people who are part of Pragya integrally understand the difference is not any less.
Yeah.
And that's why I was, I was hoping he would be listening today, and I thank you for calling. I think somebody actually, you messaged him, I guess. Huh?
No, I did not. You told me not to do anything on the chat.
Nobody messaged me. I just tuned into the show, and within a couple of minutes, I could sense what the topic was.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to be a part of the conversation because, yeah, you're rightly said. And Deepaji, romance is different from accepting people how they are, what they are, and what their choice of living is.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And
So-
Deepa was online. I think he addressed the sentence to Deepa.
No,
Deepa,
no, Srinidhi, what I was saying is when Kishan said, when Altu Baba said that he had a he had a feeling that you will call and you will understand the.
I know.
about the
No,
topic.
that's true. That's
Yeah, in
called
that
telepathy,
regards, I
right?
said like.
Yeah.
wait, Deepa.
Telepathy of brothers कभी-कभी हो जाता है.
नहीं ऐसी नहीं I know that not just that Deepa, you're right about that. थोड़ा बहुत हमारे यहाँ bromance चलता रहता है, वो अलग बात है. But the point is देखो आज का show is very unique show, and getting into the show was something which we always discuss in how the participation happens. And when you talk about the participation of our audience, I know a few of them who actually who probably think very in line with what we are thinking, right? And will have something to say about the topic, and that's what I was thinking about Srinidhi definitely calling in. Of course, you thank you for calling today. It takes a lot of cojones to call this kind of a show and talk also, right? Falguni?
Correct. Exactly.
Exactly. And Altu Baba, you're right. I'm sure there are folks who will be thinking whether to even call and speak up about this topic or not. Even those people who have been regularly calling or who want to call. I'm sure there will be people. It's a very sensitive matter. Of
Correct.
course, it's their opinion, what they think about it. But I think it's just accepting people,
Right.
what they
Absolutely.
are and then who they are.
Absolutely. I completely agree. So, Srinidhi, you wanted to chime in on this particular topic. So tell us what is your take? I mean, do you have you been somebody who has how do you receive it? Do you think it's been treated fairly in Indian cinema?
In Indian cinema, well, lately, yes, I think they have started recognizing. I mean, not that this thing, the LGBT thing, was not there in our country or any other country for that matter. It's been there for a long time, and Indian cinema has now started bringing it to the front to people, which is great. People should know, and people should be educated. I think it's a myth, or that's how people, or that's how the culture has been to show such kind of people, to look down upon such kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? But
Mm-hmm. Point. Well, actually, Deepa brought a very good reference about the character in Sholay, right? And it seemed to be like a comical character as opposed to anything else. It wasn't something you would, it was comic relief.
Uh-huh.
So where would somebody take something seriously?
Correct.
So that's the thing we're talking about. But Srinidhi, thank you so much for your input.
So is there anything you wanted to chime in on? Anything else you wanted to say, Srinidhi? He just started talking about it.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Srinidhi. I just jumped in because
I know, I was getting warmed up.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
it was just because Altu was running around. He was trying to get a charger for his laptop. He didn't hear your conversation. He
I'm
thought.
sorry, Srinidhi. My bad. Okay, continue.
Sure. No problem. I mean, see, I'm sure you all know that I'm a people person. I care for people, what they are, who they are, and then however they are. It matters to me because and talking about them and knowing them, it matters to me because it makes a difference to me myself to know how open I am. I mean, I'm not worried about who's accepting, who's not, but it's about me and myself, trying to understand what the other side of the coin looks like. And I am not ashamed to say that I have a lot of friends who are in the LGBT category, and I respect them.
Yeah.
I totally respect them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I work with them. I have a very close friend, who is a gay, and a proud gay, I should say. And then he came out with his family, and they've accepted. And I know such people who are there. It's just that people should understand, that they too have a life. They too deserve to live how they live. They cannot live as per society.
Yeah, and yeah, very true. In fact, my always thing would have been why Indian cinema has shied away from um, making a character. Well, actually, now they have. Of course, that's good. That's fine. They've done it. Actually, because
Right.
the concept of a hero, like the way we worship, idolize heroes, right? Our storytelling, like how Deepa brought the concept very true. She said, like we always have seen them as supporting actors. Nothing as a mainline story where which actually we would actually humanize them. We always have made them as a side character who no relation to us kind of thing. So that's how we are pushing them into a separate category totally, right? So yeah, I agree with you. I think we need more
Yeah,
movies.
but now अभी आ रहे हैं ना अभी मतलब and also yeah because like awareness होने के बाद अगर ऐसा मूवी किया like it appeals to the people, right?
Yeah.
वरना ऐसे ही एकदम से सरप्राइज एलिमेंट हो जाएगा शायद इसीलिए आई थिंक नाउ इट्स लाइक मोर ग्लोबलाइजेशन ये
Correct.
सब होने के बाद people have more knowledge about it.
And I think, Deepa, to address your point, right, when we become comfortable talking about it, is when we start accepting things. And how do you get comfortable? Awareness. How would you get awareness? Like shows like us, or movies which come out, right? No, or actual life experiences, right? So, and being open to them is important. That's exactly what even Srinidhi is resonating and saying that being open to
Yeah,
things, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
That's what accepting people with them.
I've logged into multiple shows. I've been on multiple shows, and guys, nobody talks about this in public and on air, and I'm glad you guys do it, and and that's why you guys are different from anybody else.
Oh,
So-
thank you.
Thank you, bro.
It's not easy to talk about such thing, at a prime time show, for people who are listening, yes, somebody will really, want to give in their consent of accepting it, and some of them will say, "Chichi, kya baat kar rahe hain?"
Correct.
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 No, thank you guys for
Thank you.
talking about this matter.
Thank you so much, Srinidhi.
Oh, absolutely, Srinidhi. Thank you so much for sharing that. And today, also, when we're talking about trans specifically, because we're not talking just about, homosexuality,
No.
but we're talking about gender fluidity. That is a very difficult. I mean, at least homosexuality has come to be accepted
Yeah.
in society, right?
Yeah.
And there is that change. There was a law in India. Everything, not just in India, but across the world as well. They at least have the right to marry and stuff, but people who are transgender or people who are gender fluid, that's happening in a lot of teenagers today are struggling with identifying.
Yeah.
They're really struggling with identifying, and sometimes it's really hard because we came across a teenager who has gone into suicidal ideation
Yeah.
because parents are not willing to accept that.
Correct.
This has been a problem not just here. There was an Indian male that I was talking about who was intact as a male, but had always identified throughout his childhood, identified more, was to wear his mom's saris and do all that, and eventually was thrown out of the house and didn't
Yeah.
get to spend his adulthood with his dad and mom, whom he was very close to, because he was different. I mean, he felt like a woman. He came here, and unfortunately, when his dreams started to come true, he got afflicted by cancer and he passed away. Otherwise, we would have featured him on the show,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So, there have been...
ऐसे भी and फालतूरानी मैंने ऐसे भी केसेस सुने हैं like in the distant relative मतलब distant friends relatives कुछ भी मतलब like there are people like I don't know their name actually, one friends ऐसे बोलते हैं ना.
Huh.
So like like and forcefully ये भी वो शादी भी करा देते हैं, like
Correct.
then both of them suffer so much. It's so sad, like the then they ended up
Yeah.
at least,
So here's an opportunity for me to share something. Deepaji and Srinidhi, probably you guys are aware of it, Deepa. But the thing is, for people listening to this right now, there is a certain terminology they use for it. And again, unfortunately, we as human beings, we want to put everything in silos, correct? So there's a particular gender classification, LGBTQ. We might wonder, what does it mean? It means that somebody who's trans is somebody who identifies with a different gender what has been assigned to them, right? That's what comes in the trans. trans, right? So there could be physiologically a male, but psychologically understand or want to be a female. So that's something which is there, and they're called transgenders. And yes, science technology has improved, and we saw a movie recently also which actually talked about it. That's when they actually have physiological change, which it's possible right now in science. It is possible to change somebody's orientation, as in sexual. I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. Somebody's physiological gender can be changed, and that's called transsexual. So basically, not to feel awkward about the whole thing, but they just understand that accepting them is important. If somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I might look like a male, but I feel like a female, you must be able to say, or have the, the gumption to just say, okay, you know what, I accept you the way you are. Whether you want to be addressed as a female, the pronouns, you might see when you go on Zoom calls nowadays, people have this he, she pronouns put up there. That's because they might feel that, they want to be called as a he or she. She or her. So that's what you got to be mindful of. And इस चीज़ों को बातें करना हमारे कल्चर में थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, इसीलिए हम लोग आज का शो किए हैं ताकि हम लोग इट मेक्स इट इजियर फॉर chew upon these things. थोड़ा हम लोग उसको beat up करके ना दीपा जी, we'll actually learn more about these things. And thank you, I really appreciate the fact that you chose to call us today. But I want to say you're rocking a wonderful look, Deepa ji. It's very nice to see it. Srinidhi is losing out on watching your beautiful face today. Srinidhi, you must log in on the Facebook. Deepa ji, this is coming on a vacation, out of vacation right now.
Very glamorous actually with the glass.
And by the way, and Srinidhi, when you listen, when you watch on Facebook or our video, right? Please, dil संभाल के देखना, please, okay?
Yeah, because she looks really.
हाँ यार, दीपा में दिला के तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा.
चश्मे पर दूर, literally.
हाँ,
okay, sure.
वो भी ग्लासेस पहन के क्या रॉकिंग कर रही है? Too much यार, too much.
अरे हाँ, श्रीनिधि को पता नहीं ना, मुझे क्लासेस आ गया श्रीनिधि, इसीलिए बोल रहे.
देखो सबको मालूम है, जब से आप हमारे शो पे कॉल कर रहे हैं तो आप इंटेलिजेंट बनते जा रहे हो.
Immediately.
नहीं मतलब देखो एक मिनट when you actually wear glasses, can you see things clearly? है ना? Wait, let me finish. Answer yes or no. When you wear glasses, can you see things clearly? Yes, wait, no, बस no क्योंकि नहीं चाहिए, नहीं दीपा जी क्योंकि नहीं चाहिए मैं. आप when you wear glasses, can you see clearly? So अभी आपको clarity आ रहा है ना after listening to our shows?
When I do like this also, I can see you.
So whenever you listen to our show, your eyes go up like Altu Baba. So you can see clearly.
हाँ, वो गुस्से से लाल पीले हो जाते.
Now when you say that, Srinidhi is having a different mind about Lal Pila, but Srinidhi don't think too much with Srinidhi. My goodness. But Srinidhi, thank you so much for calling in. Let's ask you any movie which let's coming to the point right now. Deepa, once again, okay? Srinidhi, before you go, tell us any movie which you have seen which you thought, okay, you know what? This seems to be justice to the trans community. Have you felt that?
Yes, there is one movie which was remade in Hindi as well. Akshay Kumar acted in that. It came out in, actually it is a Tamil movie.
Lakshmi.
Gosh, I forget that name.
Lakshmi.
Kanchana, right?
Sharat Kumar.
No.
Kanchana,
Lakshmi.
yes, you're right. Kanchana.
Kanchana.
Yeah.
Is it
Amazing
Kanchana?
movie. I mean, look at the way that they have actually shown a transgender fighting for their survival and their community.
Right.
So the Tamil movie Srinidhi is referring to is Kanchana. They had 2-3 things, and the Kanchana was remade in Hindi as Lakshmi Bomb, which released in the COVID time, so did not do very well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Kanchana, amazing acting by Sharat Kumar. I mean, Akshay Kumar also, but then
I don't know.
he can't be.
Hindi to.
They didn't do a good job of.
You are saying was good.
Yeah.
Kanchana.
Hindi I didn't like it.
Hindi, they didn't do a good Hindiization. Yeah.
Correct, exactly.
They
but
made it very
the
cheap.
original, the Kanchana, that movie was amazing. I mean, I'd love to watch that. And I watched it with my family. I mean, there's absolutely no inhibitions
Yeah.
there, saying that, is it okay to watch it in front of my parents who are from a previous generation? Is it okay to watch it with my kids who are from the next generation? I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
There is existence, at least, I mean, we're glad that just the generation above us and the next generation, or rather the generation above us, they are accepting what it is right now.
Right.
And I also have people in my family who are orthodox and then who still look down upon, that
Yeah.
community.
I'll give you a classic example. We are in the United States. We are in the Bay Area. Do you know that we share our live videos, right? Our video got removed from 2 Indian groups
Hmm.
with the
Oh, really?
feedback
Okay, I
that
didn't,
that they don't encourage this kind of talk
Mm-hmm.
with regard to transgender.
That's okay.
They don't realize that this is discriminatory, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just saying, even so-called in this day and age, when we have come to this country and when we are like, it's a globalized world, people still think along. I mean, are stuck with their heads up there, where.
People are not progressing.
Exactly.
They
Correct.
are regressing.
Yeah.
देखो ना अभी क्या हो रहा है दुनिया में,
Yeah.
यूक्रेन में क्या हो रहा है?
Correct.
Do you think that's a progressive thought? No way.
No.
Well, it's okay. Haters are going to hate. The point is, it is fine. I got into this topic because I knowing very well that this is going to be, But again, this is something which I want people to be aware of because you never know. See, देखो हमारे बच्चे जो just to talk to what Srinidhi talked about, right? Our kids are
Yeah.
more informed than us
And I want to
because.
say what Srinidhi, I want to add on to that. देखो अभी, I mean, I saw the movie, but I totally forgot
Huh.
what the main topic was.
Correct.
इतना उसको डाइग्रेस कर दिया वो मूवी में, मतलब मिर्च मसाला ज्यादा डाल के,
Mm.
I mean, you could have focused and made it beautifully. मतलब डायरेक्टर could have done a better job. लेकिन देखो अभी मुझे फिर से याद आया when Srinidhi told me that the core topic, core issue which they addressed was that.
Mm-hmm.
तो मुझे जो याद है वो याद है कि वो भूत, इतना ही याद है मुझे.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
You're right because I didn't focus on what was important
Yeah.
in the Hindi
Correct.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and again, we do want to appeal to the people who actually have blocked us. They would not be seeing us because they actually blocked us on their groups.
Yeah.
Understandable. We respect your thing also, but our purpose of today's show very clearly is to actually bring awareness to these things.
Correct.
You can't live a life in a bubble and think, oh, I can't think about it. If I don't think about it, it's not going to be in a life. It is pretty much there in our existence in our life. We all have to be mindful of that also. And also, I want to say one thing to what Srini talked about. When you talk about next generation, Deepa, you also have a next generation, so you also would understand this. Talking about human sexuality is convenient for a millennial than us. We are people who actually have not had education on human sexuality. When saying that, I'm talking about the fact that they do have education system itself educates them on human sexuality.
Correct.
Which does not mean
That's
about
right.
anything amorous. It's just about understanding the human sexuality. What is identity? What is this? All those things. It's important because that's what forms an individual. So,
Correct.
and आज
Yeah,
का
it's a
show.
Correct.
pure biology.
No,
You should be-
I completely agree. I mean, of course, in our country, sexual education, again, there is nothing like that,
Yep.
right? Parents don't talk to their kids.
No.
Correct.
Nobody speaks openly
Mhm.
there. And I was surprised. And I mean, not surprised as such, but I'm actually glad. So yesterday I got a newsletter from my daughter's school, and in that they clearly mentioned, and my daughter going to high school next year, right? So
Yeah.
these are education, and they actually have a session
Yeah.
on even dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a session on dating, which is great. Look, they need to know.
Yeah.
We just can guide them,
Correct.
right? And they, as growing adults, they need to make their decision. They will understand what is right or wrong.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. In fact, the reason we brought this topic up also was because of what Mahima ji had talked to us about this a long time ago. When we were talking about you do in India they especially the transgender people come into they come in Bombay, especially if you're going in the cabs, taxi
Yeah.
cabs, right? They come to your cab
Signals.
and then they
Yeah.
start. They're very loud and so I used to get scared. The first time I saw it, I got scared. I didn't know what it was, and then they start banging on the the car doors, right? So the first time and I was a kid, of course, and she actually lowered it, and then she asked and she gave the money. And at that time I said, what yes, kids would like, what weird looking people, why is the man wearing that kind of an outfit? And she said, it's not, how do you know it's a man? You don't know what they are. And then at that point she said, she actually one day had a conversation with us when she sat us down and she said, imagine being stuck in a body that you cannot control, that the soul of a girl inside a boy and the soul of a boy inside a girl. Imagine what kind of a feeling that would be. And she said, it's like a prisoner in your own body. How would you feel? So she said, you have to realize that not everybody is the way they seem or they're made out to be physically. So it's different things. Anything can happen, but that doesn't make them any less. And unfortunately, these people are not marginalized.
Yeah.
Truly, transgender people are limited to earning money like this or through prostitution. There is no other job that's open to them. How many transgender people do you see in mainstream jobs?
Yeah.
Even today.
No, that's right. But that has changed.
It is
Every
changing
company,
now. Yeah.
Yeah, every company now
Yeah.
has a department, has a function
Yeah.
of of this entire LGBT community, their acceptance.
Correct.
They, some countries have even set aside a percentage that has to be part of their workforce who
Yeah.
have to be of that community.
Yeah.
And there are people. I mean, people who I have worked with, they have set up organizations. They have set up functions within their organization to accept
Correct.
and move towards, and they participate, and that's public today.
Correct.
They're
Exactly.
all over on LinkedIn. They're talking about it in the professional community and things like that.
Right. Right.
Sorry, once again. So I think Deepa, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're stepping out. Thank you for that.
I'll catch up with you guys later, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Deepa. Thank you so much. Continue.
Bye.
Yeah, continue.
Srinidhi, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's all about that. It's about acceptance, and it's about moving forward, with them.
Uh-huh.
Perfect.
Correct, exactly. So, but even then, you don't see as much representation of them in mainstream jobs. In fact, I'm very proud to say that I have a family member, a relative, who has started this organization where in Hyderabad, where there's a bunch of specifically for transgender people, where he trains them in information technology.
Wow.
He has, they have started placing them, in HR, in these kind of roles. Like actually, the whole organization is filled with people who are they're staffing the organization with transgender people.
Wonderful.
And they're training them in different areas, which is incredible. I think it's wonderful to hear that there is somebody who's actually, because in India I haven't seen transgender people in mainstream jobs.
And
I
again,
have definitely not
Let
seen.
me also bring attention to people joining us right now. Welcome everybody who's joining us. We actually have on air with us Srinidhi, who actually just called in over here, one of our long time bandhus. And we also have people joining us on video call right now. We'll be getting them on air in a few minutes. But let me also tell you, people who actually have blocked us on Facebook on their groups.
Not blocked. They just removed the video. They didn't
Removed
block their
the video.
fans or their bandhus.
I'm sorry, but if you remove the video, means that you actually are making a statement, and that statement to me is the fact that you don't want to learn.
Yeah.
And today's show is not about propagating anything. Today's show, our job is to put a spotlight on things.
Correct.
Right? That's what we do, and have, if possible, have a civil discussion about it. And your chiming in today's show is very, very important, because we can talk about this as a community, as society. We should be comfortable talking about anything, I should say.
Correct.
Why can't we talk about
Correct.
it?
I mean, and those people, I mean, if they don't have to, and I'm sure you're not seeking their opinion or suggestion. They can just listen in. I mean, they don't want it. It's not something that you can just shy away from, at least now.
Correct.
Or just ignore.
Correct.
So yeah, well, that's that. I mean.
Well, thank you so much, Srinidhi. It really means a lot that you chimed in, and I'm pretty sure that we can have more elaborate conversations with regard to this. And thank you.
So
for
what if a video gets removed?
Yeah, only from one group, right? So one or two groups.
Whatever. First one, it doesn't matter. I'm okay. I'm happy that I removed it.
Yeah.
That kind of shows. I'm sure our show is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
And
always two sides of the coin. So.
Yeah, but that kind of shows that actually our show is important today.
Correct.
I feel so. See, coming to the show, I had skepticism in my mind as Faltwani. I was like,
he
but
said, should we talk about it or should we do something more fun? And then, we were he was hesitant because he said people may not chime in. And, we were ready.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
we were ready with two, as we don't always ready with plan B. We had a plan B also.
Yeah.
And the plan B was just go
Of
and
course,
do
you
it.
always have.
But thank you, Srini, for chatting. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, guys. Thank you for talking about this, or thank you
Thank
for
you.
getting people to talk about this. Okay.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you, bro. Thank
And of
you.
course, but this is the Pam Pam Show, a presentation of Media Mahima. Balajan, as you know, Media Mahima is a non-profit organization in this particular California. We are working towards making sure our culture, our community is strong, and we keep our cultural roots in mind. So people who actually say, no, culturally inappropriate, I'm sorry, I have challenges for you. And there was a question I forgot to ask Srinidhi, or for the matter, even Deepa, was the explanation of what actually the golden rule is. Remember, we talked about the golden rule. Some people think the golden rule is the fact that treat other people the way you want to be treated.
Right.
And why I think it's flawed. You can always call me and ask me.
Yes.
Okay. I will not share until somebody asks me about it for sure. Okay.
Yeah. If let me also tell you, Banjan, अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि अरे ये आलतू फालतू क्या फालतू टॉपिक लेके आया है, फालतू बोले तो let me tell you, it's been redefined as rocking.
So pretty hot altu.
Yeah, pretty hot altu. And the reason we're having this conversation is, Banjan, there are all kinds of people in this world from the start of time.
Yeah.
It is not something that is only just happening today.
Yeah.
Unlike some of our pop culture would have liked us to believe, ki you have to be a certain which way.
No.
And these kinds of struggles are very real in today's world.
Yeah.
And agar hum log isko commonplace nahi banayenge, where we make everybody feel accepted, you will have children suicidal ideation, major depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, and there will be a lot of acting out.
Yeah.
They resort to drugs, they resort to because they're afraid, they don't know how they will be accepted in society.
And if there are people who actually, I really want to bring this attention because I'm so excited somebody blocked our video. Because now I can tell you, what is the reason behind blocking it? Is it because culturally inappropriate?
They removed our video.
Okay, whatever they did, they did something, right? Actually,
Yeah.
people who argue say, "Arey, ye ghor Kalyug hai," blah blah blah. I'm sorry, Kalyug does not define your orientation, does not define your thing. This is not this Kalyug. ये हमारे सत्युग में भी था, हमारे द्वापर युग में भी था, सब था, लेकिन उसके बारे में हम लोग अभी बात नहीं करेंगे. लेकिन आज हम लोग बात करें Thursdays, Trans Thursdays. Whether we understand the concept of trans and whether how Indian cinema actually has done justice or not to stories which actually feature this. So we have a bandhu actually on video call with us. Can we go to them, please? What do you think?
Yes, let's go.
Hi, Vivaji, कैसे हैं आप? Welcome.
Pam Pam, Maltu Baba and Faltu Rani. How are you guys doing?
आपका ऑडियो बस मस्त आ रहा है यार, better than the world was. I don't know which phone you're using, or you're probably at home.
I'm not in my car, that's why.
Okay.
कैसे हैं आप?
Yeah, usually when I call you guys, I'm driving around running errands and stuff. So.
Okay, running errands. So next time, थोड़ा walk it.
Walk
I
errands.
find it to be much better if you walk errands instead of running them. अच्छा, by the way, so let's see. आज का theme है trans. Are you calling to actually shout at us, yell at us, and say, blah blah blah?
No, I am calling to bow down and applaud. I think you guys have touched a great topic today, so I'm really, really happy.
Okay, why do you say it's a great topic?
Because just echoing what Deepa and Srinidhi said, it's all about love and acceptance, and each individual is unique, and we should embrace people for who they are, what they are, and it's a topic that's very close to my heart because I think just like Srinidhi said, over the past 21 years since I've been in this country, at least I have come across a lot of gay people. I have friends who are gay, who are absolutely phenomenal, and they make amazing parents. I know a gay couple, since Jaina was in preschool, so I'm talking, quite a few years, and
right.
They have twins, and they are absolutely fabulous parents.
So, Viva, I want to just bring the attention today a little bit specific to the LGBTQ.
Trans.
We're talking about the T in LGBTQ.
Right.
The T and the Q.
Q stands for queer. But again,
Queer.
T is what you're focusing on because a person, I think there's some kind of acceptance with the sexual orientation part of it because that's somebody's private life, so people don't indulge in that. But when you see with somebody visibly different from you, like looking different, that's where the T comes in, the transsexual, the transgender.
Or what you call gender fluidity. Like it could be a girl who is feeling like feeling like a boy, or
And-
has always wanted to be a boy,
Or a feminine boy.
or or a boy who wants to, who has felt more like a girl.
Correct.
And so the trans quality is what we're talking about. Are
Right.
we comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Is that is, if you could talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Definitely, I think as far as our culture goes, it's not something that, we have spoken much of in the past, or our parents have spoken to us about, except, when you go to India and, just like you guys were saying, somebody will come and start knocking on your window. And we've seen that, as children, and even now our kids have seen it as well. But I do think as a society, we are getting more comfortable with it, and we are also I think also becoming more comfortable talking to our children about it, as opposed to let's say 35 years ago when I was a child. I did ask my parents, but it was even hard for them to explain to me what was going on. But as children, you're curious and you're trying to figure out, what is this, what's going on. Is there acceptance in our society, or forget even our society, even here itself? The transsexual people are still given those looks, or when they're around, we kind of it's like hush hush, we're taking a step back. So that thing still happens, but I think the prevalence of that is going down.
Okay.
I do think people are more accepting. जहाँ तक हमारी society जाती है, I think हम लोग we still have ways to go. But I do feel like our kids, I think, will have a better understanding, because we as parents, just like Srinidhi said, are now more open as far as talking about this topic goes. So something that was a very difficult topic before is not that difficult to speak about now.
So let's come back to ask the same question what we asked Srinidhi and Deepa in terms of movies, defining your perception about a person who's trans.
Yeah.
Are there any movies which you think did a good justice to it?
Or are there movies that you think have done a horrible job?
That also.
That also is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Indian cinema has really tackled this topic well. I don't even recall watching movies about transsexual. Yeah, about transsexual. No, actually, they have transsexual people in a lot of movies, and no, it's been portrayed very poorly. I think the one movie in which I feel that it was tackled somewhat decently was in Chandigarh Kare Aashiki. That one scene where Ayushmann Khurrana is trying to understand Vani Kapoor, or how she thinks, and he actually sits down and speaks to a transsexual person.
Yeah.
And that person talks to him and says, if you love the person, then it's just about love. Love is not male or female, or
Correct.
boy, girl. It's not like that. It's a feeling and emotion, a sentiment.
Yeah.
So I think that is one movie in which, I mean, compared to all the movies in which we have seen transsexual people coming, knocking on windows, they make they make it seem as if they're just in there for the comedy part of it, which is kind of really sad.
Yeah. And
Because
also,
at the end of the day, they are individuals too. They are people too. Their feelings are just as valid as ours.
Correct.
Just because they're transsexual doesn't mean that they don't feel the way we do. And, to make jest of that, I think Indian cinema has actually handled it very poorly.
yeah.
And without emotion.
Yeah.
But in that Chandigarh Kare Aashiki, that's one scene that, at least in my mind, kind of really stands out, because बहुत देर के बाद या बहुत सालों के बाद we saw something decent and respectful. And so yes, Faltu Rani, I think that scene, that is one movie or one scene where I feel some justice was done.
Yeah, and again, for people who don't know about that movie and didn't go to watch the movie because about this kind of a topic, go watch it. It's nothing gross about it. you understand that they also are people. They also go through all the emotions which we go through, right? Physiologically, whatever you call it, it's different. That's fine. So what? A male and a female physiologically are different, and each of us have their own way we think, and our psychology is what matters. And it goes a little bit further from that. And if you look at a metaphysical point of view, we are all part of the great soul, right? So now the thing is, I also want to bring attention to one more thing what you talked about. Vipa said that she's not able to think of a movie, right? It's very true. If you notice, the portrayal of a trans person in Indian movies have either been a sidekick or of a heroine, not a hero.
Yeah.
It'll be a Saheli of a heroine. Notice Karan Johar does that in the movies, right? And also, if it is a very intense role, it'll be a negative role.
Yes.
They will be the villain or the
it'll have a very negative
scary connotation to the role itself.
Right? And I take offense, and I'm going to be very specific today. I take offense where they cast a man as a woman, as a transgender person, whereas there are so many. एक ढूंढो हजार मिलेंगे transgender individuals who can be cast in the movies.
Yes.
There is one particular movie that even as recently as last week the movie released.
Correct.
They could have easily cast. They could have easily cast a transgender person in that movie. But they chose to cast a man as in that particular role. Why? Why is it that you can't give the same amount of money that you would pay
a male?
I mean, I'm not saying that that person didn't do a good job. And I'm just saying that, जिसको opportunity चाहिए उसको क्यों नहीं देते हो?
Yeah, why not?
There's no dearth of talent amongst transsexual or, amongst anybody. You're absolutely right. They should give a chance to, like you said, a regular transsexual person rather than having a dude play that role dressed up like a woman.
Yeah, because that actually will change dynamics of the community itself, that particular community. That shows that we're accepting of them.
Actually, this show, I hope all these big wigs like these Karan Johars and these people are watching, because right here today is an opportunity for them to take inspiration from our show and to actually do something and make a decent movie, a decent portrayal of a transsexual person rather than all that comic and villainry that they show.
Yeah,
right.
I hope they're watching.
Yeah, they do. Trust me, they're watching.
No, Atu Baba and Faltu Rani will always come up with these groundbreaking ideas. So I really hope that aaj ye log, their eyes are glued to the screen and they're gaining inspiration from both of you.
I don't know about the eyes being glued. I know that your phone is being glued to the screen right now. Well, I really appreciate. I appreciate the fact that you're chiming in today, and in fact, Deepaji also chimed in. Srinidhi, thank you so much for that. And
and our Bandhu Aditi is also chiming in on Facebook, and she brings up a very valid point. I don't know how many of you do this when you're on your Zoom or on your virtual calls. You'll actually see your name and they'll say she, her, he, him. The pronouns to address you by. And a lot of people, you'll see even in their signatures, it will say that, because that is telling people that you are open to gender fluidity and what you want people to address you as. So somebody could be CIS male or female.
How to say CIS?
It's basically
break it down for people who are listening. Plain
so
language is remember we decided this on our show. We'll try to make it plain language. So, but the thing is, we're trying to stay away from jargon because we understand some of the people listening to our show probably are not very well equipped to understand these technical jargons. So, like how we talked about trans actually is a short for it will encompass people who are transgender, transsexual. What is the difference between two of them? Transgender are people who actually are identify as the gender in opposite to what they assigned to them, right?
Yeah.
And transsexual is somebody who's had the ability to actually get a scientific intervention where they can actually change their gender to something which was initially what it was.
So it's basically transgender ka sort of opposite hoga cisgender, right? So somebody who is born as a female identifies as a female. And cisgender male would be somebody who's born as a male and identifies and wants to be identified as a male. Transgender are people who are born as male and want to be identified as female. There's also gender fluidity where they choose sometimes to be identified as male. Certain areas they want to be identified as female. So that's okay too.
Yeah.
So it's what is preferred preferential for that person.
Yeah.
So if you're cisgender, then it generally refers to a person whose gender and identity or expression jo hai, wo that is in sync.
Well,
That's that matches.
Yeah, so you were saying something about cisgender. You were saying, sorry, I wanted you to just explain to people so they know when you use short forms. You were saying something. I didn't want to change.
I forgot my. So what did I ask? I forgot my. So what? What was I asking? I forgot completely, Altubaba. Thank you for derailing my thought process
You're
again.
welcome. You're welcome. I try my level best to make sure
Now
I get the
whatever.
challenging for you. You were not asking a question. You were making a statement about this gender.
Eh?
Yeah.
I was?
Yes.
I totally forgot what I was
Okay.
saying. Altubaba.
The point today's show, please understand one thing. We are trying to.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was talking about Aditi's comment, and she said it is really wonderful that today in meetings, she's actually saying that people, one thing she finds very useful is when people share their preferred pronouns, so we refer to them appropriately in meetings and in other gatherings, and not necessarily how they look or whether their name is male or female. So you could have somebody who goes by the name Simar, okay, for example, could be a male or a female, but if they have and depends on their expression. So the reason I'm bringing attention to this is because we need to be mindful, Badhujan. Incidentally, Altubaba reminded me yesterday. So we encountered somebody who's gender fluid and is having a really hard time adjusting to it, and the family is having a really hard time adjusting to it. And I referred to the person as a she or a her, and instantaneously Altubaba just shot me a look like don't, because the person is trying to modify their appearance to look like a male. But thankfully, what I knew was that the person hasn't yet decided how they want to be identified. As a she, her, still wants to be referred to as a she, her, as opposed to a he, a him. So, that's something that we need to be mindful of. We want to make sure that we are not offending anybody and we are not turning anybody off when we're doing that. So, that's what it was.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, the question will be, okay, now we know this. How do you tackle it, right? Because I always think that just talking about something and leaving you halfway through is not going to help.
Yeah.
Right? So, here's what... little bit of words of wisdom for you guys. I would not. I'm sorry, I should not be saying that. I should be humble about it. Here are some techniques which you could use when you actually come across somebody who probably looks different. First of all, you don't have to act like as though you're walking around eggshells and be cautious about what you're going to say. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't avoid them.
Yeah, don't avoid them. Engage them in conversation. If at all, it's okay. If you make a mistake, it's fine. They may correct you. Most of them actually will correct you if at all they really take offense. Some people just let it go because they also have a little more. What should I say? They are more aware of it of our lack of understanding.
Right.
But doesn't mean that we have to transgress that particular leave they're given us, right? So we have to make sure we are mindful also.
Correct.
And look out for these things what Aditi talked about. When you're talking to somebody on a Zoom call, they might look like they might have all the features of a masculine person.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they want to be called as that. They might want to be referred to. Look for the particular name tag over there and respect that is what we expect. And accept them the way they are. Do not avoid to make judgments about it. That's very, very, very important. And if you want to know more about these things, join a program of Pragnya. We actually talk about these things, how you can be aware of it. And you might wonder, why is Altubaba Falzan talking about this? Because I think we have dealt with firsthand about intersectionality of maybe gender, race, everything. Because whether you like it or not, it is still there in the community. You can't say, oh, I'm colorblind. No, I'm sorry, gender blind. No, you're not. We all see it. We have to just be mindful of the fact that we see it and address it the way whenever we have blockages from our own mind about perceptions and perceptors. Right, Viva? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And like I said, I'm glad we're all talking about this today.
Yeah.
That's one step closer to acceptance and equality, I think, for everyone.
Yes, and today's show, I know some of them will feel uncomfortable calling us. Totally, we respect it. We want you to be comfortable to talk. And I really appreciate Vibha for picking up the call and talking to us right now today. It takes a lot of cojones, like what Faltwani says. And Srinidhi also for calling in.
Hey, Faltulani, your hair looks absolutely adorable. I love it. Super cute.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You know that
Your hair also looks nice, Altubaba.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, no. I have a wavy hair. It's waving me goodbye. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Vivaji, for calling in.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye-bye.
And of course, Banjan, you two can call us here, right, Valdwani?
Yeah, Falguni ji, Deepak ji, nice to see you joining us on Facebook.
Vishal ji also there saying pam pam there. I know some of you will not actually pick up the phone and talk because probably this is a very kind of a topic.
No, I think Vishalji was trying to call, so
Oh,
hopefully
I'm
he
sorry.
will give
Okay.
us a call. I'm wondering if our headmaster, who hasn't called in a long time, has an opinion about this. I would love to hear from him.
Yeah.
408-912-2479. I will only take his name when he calls in.
Well,
So,
the thing is, Falguni, I'll tell you what, Srinidhi brought a very good point. If you're working in the corporate world right now,
right,
corporate world has recognized this.
right.
And they are trying to be mindful.
That's because there's a movement towards DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, Banujan.
Correct. So
Yeah.
there is there's definite progression towards that. I really appreciate that and thank for people who are actually advocating for it actively. And that's happening, right? Acceptance is happening in workplaces already,
Correct.
but only happening in places like over here.
Right.
And thanks to your relative who actually is doing this in Hyderabad, Falguni.
Yeah.
I was not very aware of that, so thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Yeah.
We would love to see if we can actually feature them in some of our future shows to talk about these things people are addressing across the world to make changes.
Indeed. He's a very successful entrepreneur, lives out of Chennai, but has started this organization.
Wonderful.
And has been, I think he's being nationally recognized also for the work that he's doing, because very few organizations are doing work in this area, Banjan. Actually, मैं भी, मैंने कभी confidently कुछ भी नहीं सोचा था इसके बारे में, like in the sense it wasn't top of mind for me, but where it touched my heart, Altwa, for me, I actually went before we had founded Pragnya. I went to this you remember I went to India, I met
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
different people,
Correct.
and I happened to be at this place where they had a self-advocate, which we mean somebody who has autism, Manujan. And he had, several challenges like
Okay.
communication and behavioral challenges. And this gentleman was in his 50s.
Okay.
50 plus. तो बहुत बड़े थे, much older than me. And imagine his mom was there with him. And at that time in India, how hard it was.
Yeah.
How well she empowered him. And that day he came up to speak in front of it was the opening of this place called the Spring Autism Center in Mumbai.
Okay.
And this person was called up to speak. She was called up because how she dealt with the challenges of society. Because there was no ABA therapy, there was no speech therapy. ये सब इतने जो therapies आजकल हम जानते हैं, उस ज़माने में नहीं था. और उस ज़माने में acceptance भी नहीं था. मतलब अगर बच्चा है तो बोलते थे उसको lock करके अंदर रख दो. या उस बच्चे को people used to get rid of children like that और अनाथालय में दे देते थे. So this particular gentleman talked about how he can't express the way you and I express. He was speaking like in very plain language. And then you know what? He looked very happy. He was sitting, he was rocking back and forth. And then he came up to the mic. And they said, so what do you want to say? His mom was there with him, and his mom is in her 70s, right?
God bless.
तो उन्होंने पूछा कि what do you want? He said, I'm very happy. So, and that's the way they talk, right? Some of them who don't have language. So she said, tell them why. He said, he called his wife and brought her. I forgot her name, some Rani it was, something. And he called her, and then he said, I got married.
God bless.
He got married to this person. Now I'm talking about an autistic individual, a cisgender male who got married, who was very happy, okay, that he got married. He had been asking his mom since he turned 26 that he wants to marry, it seems. So his mom came up and spoke. And she said that, how do I tell him he even actually got newspaper clippings
Mm-hmm.
and he said put my ad here. He told वो India में ना bride wanted
Yeah.
वो लगाओ ऐसे ऐसे करके. He actually brought those newspaper clippings. He could read but they can understand, but a lot of times communication is difficult.
Yeah.
Behaviors are difficult.
Yeah.
So his mom said मैं उसको कैसे समझाती. 25 years से I've been trying to find him a bride. And they're well to do. So now, after all the work that she has been doing, and then she says, but eventually, the person that he married, she called that person to speak. That person came up and spoke, and that person was transgender.
Oh, God bless. Okay.
Okay, so this person is actually transgender, and they fell in love with each other. And not out of anything else, Panujan, just out of the person came to work as an aide for him.
Okay.
Like in India, they say Aya, right?
Yeah.
I really feel bad when they use those terms.
It's a nurse or somebody who's support staff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this person actually came to help him as an aide for just a brief period. But then he supposedly liked this person so much. I mean, just look, and he never thought, not one, he kept referring to her as a she, and with all the due respect, and he said, Mrs. So-and-so, and he was so proud. And at that moment when she came up and she spoke, and she said, it is not, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. There's not, just as nothing is wrong with me. And somebody who loved me for who I am didn't look at any of the other trappings of society.
Yeah.
Without any of the societal trappings, I'm not kidding you, Banujan. There was not one person who had a dry eye in that room. Everybody cried. It was not because of sadness for what that person has endured or anything like that, but it's just out of the pure human emotion of compassion and love. And it was so beautiful. That was my first experience where I heard firsthand from somebody who was transgender. And to say that, to see the intersectionality of neurodiversity and transgender right there was just overwhelming for me. And I just wanted to share that experience with you all. So just wanted to say कि हम लोग easily judge कर सकते हैं कुछ भी. अरे वो हिजड़ा है, वो ये है. There's नाम हम लोग labels कितने सारे लगाते हैं, but at the end of the day वो भी तो एक इंसान है. Right? That person is also another human being. And another living being. Why would we want to put anybody and limit our experiences with them and their experiences with us by putting labels on them is all that we hope that will be a takeaway for many of you who are listening to us right now. And जैसे विभाजी ने कहा, yes, in Chandigarh Kare Ashiki, they did explore this aspect, and it is okay. Don't judge anybody, don't put anybody down, or don't say, oh, you know what, वो लड़का वो dolls के साथ खेल रहा है तो गलत है. They say, okay, you got to play, make him play with this or that or whatever, right? So make him
it's so
action figures के साथ नहीं खेल रहा है बच्चा तो then it's a problem kind of thing, right?
The problem is actually more something good. Let them play with rocks and trees. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
So what? And of course, girls having to be only with dolls as opposed to.
Correct.
It works both ways, right? So we got to give them option to grow. And of course, thank you so much, Faldwani. It's so nicely put. So we're going to be wrapping up our show today, Palanjan. Yes, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed presenting to you guys. Why did we enjoy presenting it? Because somebody vlogged the video. Woo, 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 woo.
Hey, somebody removed our video.
That's okay. That means it gives me more fodder to just, you know me, right? I love controversies.
Correct.
Yes.
अगर आप किसी चीज से uncomfortable हो बनुजान तो उसके
हम
बारे
उससे
में बात करना सीखो.
Yeah.
It's important. Otherwise, you're limiting your experience in life.
Wonderful.
ये जरूरी नहीं है कि आप जाके कोई आप cisgender हो, आप जाके कोई transgender से शादी कर लो.
No.
ऐसी बात नहीं है.
Not necessarily.
But उनके भी भावनाएं हैं, उनके भी feelings है, emotions है, sentiments है. उसको समझने की कोशिश करो. That's all we're trying to say. Have a conversation. Especially after the pandemic, there's been a lot of, don't label it as a mental health disorder. Accept. That's it. And if they need help, if they need support, be there for them. That's all.
So here's a nice song, which is a holy song.
Yeah.
Holy as in HOLI.
Yeah.
मतलब होली के फेस्टिवल जो seldom बजेगा because अगर होली का फेस्टिवल organized by a temple, they'll not play the song for sure.
Yeah.
but we'll play it for the judge.
इसी गाने के साथ छोटा सा बिट लगाओ आलतू बाबा. I don't want this video to get blocked.
No,
so
no,
we're
no.
going to leave you and we'll be back tomorrow with another mind-boggling edition of the Pam Pam Show. अगर आपको ये शो अच्छा लगा तो ज़रूर हमारे फेसबुक पे पोस्ट करिए, कमेंट करिए. जो हमें कॉल करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, अगर आपको कुछ बताना है जाके हमारे फेसबुक पे लगाइए, facebook.com/RadioDhotties. शेयर आवर वीडियोस. यूट्यूब पे हमारा चैनल है रेडियो डी हॉटीज. प्लीज शेयर इट फ्रॉम देयर एज वेल. इसी के साथ गुड नाइट,
शब्बा खैर
एंड अ प्यार भरा
Mwah!